Greetings and a warm welcome to episode 11 of Rambling Reviews here on your home for music chitter chatter, Mason's Music Library. In this week's episode, we are unpacking the 1967 epic album release, Axis Boulder's Love, by the legendary Jimi Hendrix Experience. But before we go any further, just take a look at this vinyl gatefold. Isn't that like the coolest thing you've ever seen? But I guess one would expect nothing but the best from these guys. So without further ado, let's get straight to the review. The Jimi Hendrix Experience were a pioneering psychedelic rock outfit who, in fact, fuck it, if you guys don't know who the Jimi Hendrix Experience are, then leave this video. In fact, throw your computer out the window and go rethink your whole existence. Okay, cool? So, Axis Boulder's Love was the second studio release by this tumultuous trio that marked a real departure from the sound of their previous album, Are You Experienced? As Axis focused less on the incredibly fiery and awe-inspiring guitar playing of their last album, but more on Jimi's talents as a songwriter, making for a more focused and melodic album experience. That for me was a perfect direction for this band to take, as it helped their music to shine, instead of just the iconography of Jimi Hendrix as a legendary guitar hero. I mean, they could have just as easily brought out an album jam-packed with screeching guitar solo after screeching guitar solo, but the band wanted more than that for this album, and they really got that. One of the most inspiring things for me about this project is the fact that it was recorded only a few months after their previous album, and the fact that they were able to totally restructure and change up their sound in such a short period of time is, for me, nothing short of musical mastery. Now, this was not by choice, however, as the record contract demanded that they produce 2 albums in the year of '67. A bit of a dick move in my opinion. I mean, I have no real love for record labels, and this is a perfect example of why. Because they really did exploit this band, and Track Records didn't even release this album until 1968 because they didn't want to interfere with the sales of their last album. Duh. I mean, what was even the point, guys? Anyway, I digress. Now, this album kicks off in such a unique way with the very weird track EXP that really sets this album up in a terrific way, as it shows the abundant use of experimental recording methods that would make up a lot of the sound for this album, and demonstrated that this was going to be something really different, not only for this band, but for music at large. And, I mean, to be honest, there's no real point in me trying to describe this song using language because language falls short. This is a sonic experience, so just go and listen to it and you will know exactly what I mean. But just such an awesome way to kick off this album, and whenever I play it for like friends or anything, everyone's just like, oh, what's going on? Are we in danger, Carl? And I'm like, no, chill. It's just a Jimi Hendrix Experience, guys. We're safe. But after this, we get one of the most chilled out tracks on the album, Up in the Skies, that notably drew influence from reggae and funk music, a combination for me that just screams Hendrix and would go on to be one of the defining sounds of the band's later work. Now, on this track, we see a heavy use of what would become one of Jimi's signature guitar playing methods, the wah pedal, that gives such a funky effect to this song and also makes for such a psychedelic sound, a perfect accompaniment for any tripping hippie. Now, the next song, Spanish Castle Magic, it's a bit more of a return to the sound from Are You Experienced, with some super heavy drum beats and guitar and bass playing that is just so primal and powerful in nature. I mean, it really helped set up the sound of heavy rock and roll music, a genre that would not come for a few years later. Now, this sound is also found on the song If 6 Was 9, that is just drenched in style and has such a cool phrasing to it. And one of my favourite lyrics on this song is actually white-collar conservatives flashing down the street, pointing their plastic finger at me, hoping soon my kind will drop and die, but I'm going to wave my freak flag high. Now, this song explores Jimi's feelings of being free to express himself authentically, and this is just such a great message for anyone out there. Now, to wrap up this review, I want to talk about the song not only from this album, but from Jimi's entire library that I hold closest to my heart, and that's Castles Made of Sand. Now, Castles Made of Sand is for me the perfect example of Jimi's profound potential as a songwriter, as he explored the very deep reality that everything we build up over our lifetime, be it money, fame, or respect and love, much like castles made of sand, will return to the sea eventually. Now, for many people, this is a very pessimistic view of life, but I would argue that when you understand the nature of our mortal coil and how our time is limited, It makes it so necessary to get the absolute most out of your lifetime, to chase every dream, big and small, and to understand that everything in this life is not permanent. So take nothing for granted, but be grateful for everything you do have whilst you have it. Now, on that note, I'm going to have to wrap up this review before I get all emotional here. But I do hope you guys love this album as much as I do. And I would love to know your feelings about it, so why not share them in the comment section below. Now, if you enjoyed this video, then be sure to subscribe to Mason's Music Library for more classic album reviews. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. I mean, I have a lot of passion for this channel and I cannot wait to see where it goes. But for that, I need you guys. So I just want to say thank you very much for once again tuning in. But before I sign off for this week's episode of Random Reviews, I have this week's recommended listening for you guys. Starting with Somebody to Love by Jefferson Aeroplane, Summertime by The Big Brother and The Holding Company, and A Message to Love by the Band of Gypsies. Now, once again, I want to thank you all for joining me for another episode, and I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.